Matt, if anybody has ever seen Al live since 1989, they have heard Fun Zone.
They have heard Fun Zone.
This was recorded during the third recording sessions, along with Gandhi 2. It was actually recorded under the title Stanley Spadowski's Theme, before it was renamed Fun Zone. It was originally written 4 years earlier for a failed Saturday Night Live replacement show that would have been called Welcome to the Fun Zone. And the song is played at the beginning of every Weird Al concert. I believe UH Jeff on his first appearance, on his complete Al appearance, told us about the Fun Zone thing.
Yes.
Because it appears on a magazine cover in a montage scene. And that's wild. I love this as like the kickoff to an Al show. Because
it's fantastic. I mean,
it fulfills its promise. It's fun.
It's super, super fun. It also allows like the band to generally do this without Al. So the band come out on stage and they play Fun Zone, and then Al enters towards the end of it, and it's a great little like moment. At least on the Vanity Tour, many shows start exactly like that. Super, super great. Like, I mean, yeah, it's so again, we just as we started this, Matt was saying, like, it's tough to talk about an instrumental.
Yeah.
It's super interesting. It is the only instrumental in Al's entire career.
Yep.
It's a great, great, great piece of music. Did you see, Matt? There is somebody digitized the pilot episode of Welcome to the Fun Zone, and it is on YouTube.
No, did you watch it?
I didn't get to watch the entire thing, but I watched because it's over an hour long. So the Welcome to the Fun Zone show was supposed to be, at one point, it was a replacement or even just a competitor for Saturday Night Live. And they wanted it to be a variety show, a comedic variety show it had 3 hosts. I was not familiar with any of the hosts. They were, one of the hosts was Zucker, who wrote Airplane, the filmmaker.
Okay. There's 2 of them, David or Jerry.
I'm looking right now to confirm which Zucker. This is the reason why I said just Zucker. It was Charles. Wait,
okay.
Is that a different? Is he related?
That might be a different Zucker.
Is he unrelated to the other ones? I might have just assumed. Charles Zucker. He wrote Teen Wolf.
Oh.
How about that? And it's funny because I do too. They made the joke in it that he is the funny one, because the other hosts are just kind of very straight, and he was like, I'm the funny one. If I'm talking, you should be laughing. Like, he says something like that at the very, very early on. But in the opening credits, so Al is in it. That's the other great thing about it. You guys have to watch this, because the very first thing that happens really in the show after the hosts introduce it is they cut to Al. Dr. Demento is the MC of this show. I'm honestly, watching the little bit that I saw made me really, really wish that this thing existed more, because it looked great.
So it says here that they played a music video. They played the I Lost on Jeopardy video on Fun Zone, according to the IMDb Wikipedia. But
it's a live performance. It's not the music video. Ooh. They actually play it. He and the band play it live.
Oh man, I gotta download
and
this
Al
thing
is
and
Al
watch
is sitting. He's got a synthesizer in front of him, and he's playing the keys part, because there's no keyboard player at that time. It's just Al. They sound great.
But
a great live performance.
We've talked about this a lot during this UHF series of episodes. We love bad horror movies and horror movie parodies, and it looks like John Candy starred in a sketch called The Golf Course That Dripped Blood, which I am so invested in.
You absolutely must. It's hilarious and ridiculous. The thing that I liked the most about it is in the opening credits, they're introducing everyone, and they're like, coming up in this episode, a comedy video with John Candy.
Yeah.
They just call it a comedy video. And then when the hosts come around later, they're like, do you guys like comedy videos? And the crowd cheers. It's like, what an incredibly weird way to present a pre-taped bit.
So I'm looking at this cast on IMDb, which is just chaos. So it has, obviously, Weird Al Yankovic, special guest. Yep. John Candy as himself. John Paragon as himself, who we discussed on the UHF episode. He was Jambi from Pee-wee's Playhouse. He's the son in UHF. Carlos Santana as himself. Booker T. Jones as himself. The Fabulous Thunderbirds as themselves. Howie Mandel. This is a crazy cast.
Musical guests in this episode are Carlos Santana, Booker T. Jones, the Fabulous Thunderbirds, and Weird Al. It is amazing.
Also, John Carradine and Victoria Jackson show up in it.
I have to give credit as well because I didn't catch this in the quick watch that I did of it. But one of the other hosts is Tawny Moyer, who was in Halloween 2.
Oh, nice.
I did not catch that when she first introduced herself. I'm now seeing it here. And then the other host is Rusty Cundiff is his name.
Okay.
And I'm fascinated. He was the director of Tales from the Hood.
Oh, nice. Yes.
He also was a director on most episodes, it seems, of Chappelle's Show when that was on television. He worked with Dave Chappelle a bunch. So actually all of them are reasonably notable in their own right. They clearly were going for something big here. This is like, as best I could tell, what we're watching is kind of an unaired pilot, or maybe it was a pilot that was aired. It did air.
It aired,
and then it just never continued.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the director's credits as well. Paul Miller. Mostly everything is comedy stuff. He directed TV episodes of Ben Stiller's show, Alf, a bunch of stuff, The Nanny, Living Color, whatever. But he did direct a movie, and boy, did he make a choice. He directed John Leguizamo in The Pest in 1997.
Wow. The Pest. Oh my God. That's
a movie
amazing.
that I'm positive I've only ever seen the first 5 minutes of over and over and over again because I love the rap that kicks off the movie and then I lose interest.
I'm sure I've never seen that whole movie. Yeah. I mean, it's wow. So yeah. So there's like, I mean, I'm going to say big people because now in hindsight they seem significant, but I mean, they're not. They're not huge by the current standards. I cut you off earlier when you were talking about the guests, but also in this, Howie Mandel, who is there doing his very, very old school now, like prop comedy with a wacky voice bit, which I think a lot of people have forgotten that was Howie Mandel's start. Now that he's become like a personality. He
definitely, I believe that the prop comedy was where he like kind of ruined himself by inflating the rubber gloves over his head with his nose and like. I think he actually broke a part of the interior of his nose doing that bit or something really random.
See, that I did not know.
I mean, I could be, listen, I'm pulling from things I heard over 37 years of life. I'm going to actually check to see if that's true.
Yeah.
Before.
While you check that, I'll also run down some other people on the show. Howie Mandel, Larry Harmon as Bozo the Clown, the Bozo the Clown, people. The Flying Karamazov brothers. It's just this like wild sketch comedy bit. And then the other funny thing about it is in this episode that did air, Fun Zone is not used.
Yeah.
Al wrote it for the show, and I guess they rejected it. And it wound up not there, and they used this other sort of interstitial entrance music, which is not nearly as good. I don't know what about Fun Zone they did not like, because it's way, way better than what wound up here. But I guess kind of cool that then Al was just sitting on this instrumental piece of music. So then when he needed something for UHF, it was a no-brainer probably. Like let's throw that in here.
It is mind-blowing.
And heartbreaking.
How many original scripts are written every year but are never made?
So we seek out these scripts and bring them to life with full audio production and professional actors.
Check us out at Undiscovered Scripts.
Movies made of paper.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
Free!
The melody line to Fun Zone is like one of my favorite bass warm-ups to play. I often will play it on stage doing like a little sound check moment. The do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
It's very catchy. And the bass line throughout it is phenomenal, too.
The bass line is great. This is a great... It really actually highlights the players of the band really, really well. The guitar... It's all just super, super fun.
I found a ton... I forgot that, like, Howie Mandel has, like, all types of, like, OCD, ADHD, germaphobe issues.
Yes. I knew about the germaphobe stuff,
but it said, fans who remember the zany Mandel would run around stage with an inflated rubber glove on his head... should be aware that Mandel no longer does this bit in concert. The 76-year-old said, "I'm not allowed to do it. I have a doctor's note telling me I can't do it. I perforated a sinus one time while doing it."
Ooh.
So, yeah.
That sounds painful.
Yeah. He said, "I was willing to hurt myself to make strangers laugh, but the doctor didn't agree."
Yeah, Jesus. So. I am also just noticing on Welcome to the Fun Zone, Howie Mandel is credited as a writer.
Oh.
as well.
And this is early. This would be 84. He's the voice of Gizmo this year. Like, it's still pretty early, and this is a pre-Bobby's World Howie Mandel.
Yeah, no, this is definitely very early for him. And you can see, if you watch this episode, he is... It's funny, actually, the comedy style is not exactly the same, but it almost reminded me of Bobcat Goldthwait, someone else we've talked about a bunch. This very huge personality character just running around going like, "Rah, rah!" Like he literally like rolls down the ramp they have on stage, like, and it's just this like manic, larger than life energy that is a huge part of his whole, shtick.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a year after his comedy special called The First Howie Mandel Comedy Special.
Well, there you have it. I mean, what else can you say about that?
I dream of being able to name something that dumb.
Yeah.
I think I've told you this before, but when I was in my high school band, the first band you form in high school,
sure.
We were talking about like, ooh, we should go on tour or whatever. My guitarist was like, we should call it the First Reunion Tour. And I was like, what a great name for a band's first tour. I mean, Fun Zone, we had a fun time talking about it.
We did. I mean, it makes me wish there's not, it's kind of surprising if you think about so Al was commissioned to do this and then it did not actually happen. We know that he got commissioned to do This Is the Life for Johnny Dangerously, right? But there's not that many of those. I mean, maybe we'll discover more as we go through his catalog, but I'm kind of surprised that maybe he just started turning them down, that we don't see more of this. Like, he's so good. Like, this is okay, they didn't want to use it for whatever reason, that's fine. But, like, God, I'd hire Al to make a instrumental theme song for my show.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
I definitely think that it just makes sense. Like, I'm trying to think of other times that Al's been commissioned. Spy Hard obviously comes to mind.
Spy Hard, sure. Yeah, that's true.
But the amount of times is really small.
Yeah. And this is the only one that I know of that would have been more subtle, right? Because it's like for This Is the Life, they wanted him attached to it, right? This is like him doing it is part of it's a cross-promotional thing, right? And same for Spy Hard. Like, he is elevating this, but to be asked to write an instrumental piece of music as the theme song to a show, that's not about having Weird Al attached to it as much as it is just, oh, you're good at this, please do this for us. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to know if how many of those opportunities he's gotten over the years, and maybe just seeing them not materialize a few times made him not want to spend too much of his energy making things for other people who may or may not actually use them.
I mean, that has to be frustrating at a certain point when you we hear about that all the time on like bands recording songs for like a movie soundtrack or whatever, and then it gets rejected, and then they're just like, well, fuck you, I'm going to put it on my album then.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you're lucky, the thing you're asked to do is broad enough that you can repurpose it for your own thing and it doesn't feel out of place. Because sometimes if you're asked to do something very specific, then it doesn't feel like, different artists are going to be different. It might not feel like yours in the same way. It might not feel like something you would do. It might not feel at home on one of your records. But this feels right at home on a Weird Al record.
I'm trying to remember what the song is, but on one of the Rivers Cuomo Alone home recording releases is the song he originally wrote for Angus.
Oh, interesting.
And they said, I believe the situation was that they said it was track 10. All right. So on Alone is a track called Wanda. And said track 10 Wanda was recorded in 1995, originally intended for the movie Angus. The song was rejected by the film's producers for being too specifically about the plot of the movie. So Weezer's You Gave Your Love to Me Softly was written instead, which is like weird because I feel like diehard Weezer fans would probably put You Gave Your Love to Me Softly as one of the absolute best songs that the band has ever crafted. And it seems like it was oh shit, we still have to write a song because they didn't like this first one thrown together song, which is insane.
It's funny. I just saw Weezer have just started to play that song again on the tour that they're
their current tour. When I look at I've been looking at their Setlist FM, and I'm like, I'm mad that I'm missing them when they come to Philly because it's like the Weezer fan dream set.
It seems like they are really doing. I think he is playing a different original. Rivers solo is playing like a different song every night.
Yeah.
Like one night only, he's playing this kind of rarity track. It seems like that he's been doing that thus far, which is really crazy for a band that kind of seems like they had fallen into a comfortable, familiar routine with their live shows. And again, it's tough when you're, Al has the same problem when he's not doing a vanity tour, where you have enough big songs in your career, and it's challenging to insert deep cuts when you feel obligated to play so many.
Well, it's also, I mean, you're in a band where you guys are blessed that you still really like the song Teenage Dirtbag, but like,
sure,
I'm sure that when you've been doing something for 30 plus years and you feel like those early songs don't even remotely connect or represent with you, but they're the thing that most represents with the crowd.
Yeah.
That it's it's a real push and pull at that point where it's like,
there are definitely moments where you're, where you think, you go on a tour and you're like, okay, we're going to do like, just from a Wheatus perspective, like a very popular song to open the show is Truffles, which is the first song on the first record and has this big sort of build up intro. So we open shows with Truffles a lot. And then at a certain point, you're just like, God, we got to open with anything but Truffles. It's so like you get so tired of it. I like
what you've been opening with. I never remember the name of the song, but
we probably Break It, Don't Buy It.
Yes, Break It, Don't Buy It.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
It's a great. It's a slow build open. It's beautiful.
It's definitely become a favorite of ours because it's fun to play and also is sort of immediately like subtle and different and interesting in a way where like I think we sort of disarm an audience right away into immediately realizing like, oh, this show might not be exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
I think, but I still like it.
I think it succeeds from watching some of your shows from the sidelines.
Hey,
it seems like it works.
There
All right,
you go. Well, maybe we should start opening with Fun Zone.
You should start opening with Fun Zone.
I'm going to pitch that to the band for the next tour if we open with Fun Zone.
I'm sure the Weird Algorithm crowd would love it.
That would make me so happy because I feel like that would be at an average audience. It would be like, I don't know, like 5 people.
Yeah.
Would know what I was doing and would be like losing their minds excited, and everyone else would be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, what is happening? Why are they so excited about a song I've never heard?
Yeah, this guy is incredibly excited for what must be a real obscure Wheatus track, because I've never heard this before.
Well, the good news, everybody, is that we will finally be back to ranking songs. So... stay tuned.
One other note from Welcome to the Fun Zone I wanted to mention. Another person who is prominently featured in that episode is Mark Weiner.
Oh.
Is on that episode.
Nice.
And he is
doing, Wienerville.
And I thought to myself when I saw that, I feel like we talked about Wienerville on this show once before. And I can't figure out why we would have.
I don't know why either, but we definitely did.
We did, right?
Oh, I know why. Because Huey Lewis was on an episode of Wienerville that I saw as a kid, and we taled about it on the I Want a New Duck episode.
Okay, there you go. That explains it, because I saw him pop up, and again, maybe people of our age who grew up watching 90s Nickelodeon would remember the show Wienerville, which was a wildly strange... he's a puppeteer. He's a comedian and a puppeteer, and he did the weird like head puppets, which, is like a human head on top of a puppet body. Maybe even that description would help you remember his work. But he's on this, a very early version. Again, like Wienerville didn't start until 93, and this is 80.
10 years earlier. Yeah.
It's way, way, way early for him. So that was fun to see.
I know what I'm watching when we finish recording, because now I need to watch this pilot. So,
oh yeah, if I have not made it clear, highly recommended. At least at the time of this recording, I don't think it's going to get taken down or anything like that. If you just go on YouTube and search for "Welcome to the Fun Zone," it will pop right up, and you can watch the whole thing. A killer I Lost on Jeopardy performance from Al and the band. And you get to watch a comedy video featuring John Candy. If you're a fan of comedy videos.
We love comedy videos here at
We're
Weird
huge
Algorithm.
fans. Here, we're not afraid to admit how much we like comedy videos.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.